With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to the Theatre Thoughts Podcast, your one stop to sit back, relax, and indulge in some discussions and thoughts that revolve around theatre. On today's show, we're going to sit down with Jarrod Riesinger and Bradley Ward from Rising Arts Productions, who are currently putting on PUFs, or 7 Increasingly Eventful Years at a certain school of magic and magic, which is coming to the Flight Path Theatre in January and the Illawarra Performing Arts Centre later in the year. We're going to talk to Jarrod and Bradley about Rising Arts Productions and what they do as a company, as well as indulge in some hilarious theatre games along the way. Make sure you're listening to the end of the podcast to hear for our second big giveaway, this time for Heathers the Musical, coming to the ARA Darling Quarter Theatre in February. So as usual, sit back, relax, switch on those thoughts, and please enjoy the Theatre Thoughts Podcast. Welcome to the podcast. We have Jarrod and Brad from Rising Arts Productions in Wollongong. How are you both?
Very good, Justin. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Bradley.
And I'm good as well. I'm also here.
Excellent. So we've got you on today to talk about Puffs, the play, which is coming to both Sydney and Wollongong. It was originally going to be in Wollongong this year, and then obviously postponed because of COVID. But now you've managed to secure a spot at the Flight Path Theatre in Sydney.
Yes, absolutely. We're incredibly excited for it and incredibly nervous because we're, as we speak, just under a month out from opening night.
That's exciting. It's so exciting, especially because after putting it off during COVID and everything, now you're actually doing it, which is incredible.
Yeah, well, it was COVID that really inspired us doing this Sydney season. This is one of the best casts that Jarrod and I have ever had the opportunity to work with. They're all phenomenally talented and incredibly passionate about this show, and they'd put in months of hard work only to go into lockdown and for the show to be postponed until April. And then, unfortunately, we get a cast of young actors. Some of them are auditioning for WAPA and VCA and for other acting schools, and we're suddenly confronted with a very real opportunity that these brilliant people who have put in such hard work may not actually get to take it to the stage. So we decided to add a Sydney season, which is not normally the order you do things. Normally you start in Sydney and add a bit of a regional tour, but we've never done things the way that most people do things.
No, you guys haven't, which is what is so good about you guys. You go for it.
Thank you very much.
So just for those who haven't heard of Puffs, could you guys give us a bit of a rundown?
Puffs is the retelling of a story of the world's most famous boy wizard condensed into 110-ish minutes, all from the perspective of the Puffs, the badger-loving misfit wizards of Wizard School. So yeah, we get introduced to some new heroes along the way, but we get to see all those characters that we're familiar with from that very sort of popular series that shall not be named.
It must be so. Do they send you a guideline of what you can and can't say when you're talking about it?
Yes, they did.
You get a big rider of everything where they suggest maybe they send you lists of characters that aren't copyrighted. So it's you can talk about this. But find creative ways to talk about X, Y, Z.
Wow.
Obviously, so everyone sort of stays within the realms of law, and so no one gets some nasty letters from Warner Brothers.
No way. That's incredible. Wow, full on. Yeah, I'd love to know, in their way of thinking, I'm very conscious now not to say it as well. In their way of thinking, what character contributes you can talk about them, they're fine, they're nothing, to no, you can't talk about them.
Apparently the way they found it was online. There's one of the online stores sells wands, and it has the entire list of everything that's trademarked. So they use that to sort of navigate their way cleverly around it by obviously, if talking about certain wizards, you only talk about them by their first name or their last name, but never together. So they got really creative.
Or you just resort completely to a description of that character. One of our actors plays a certain potions teacher, is the official name of that character within the script.
Excellent. Oh, that's so funny. So you guys would have to think very creatively with your improvisation around, obviously what you can and can't say, and then creating something that is inherently your own version of Puffs, I suppose, with this cast.
Yeah, well, as I was saying before, it is a scripted show. It had a very popular off-Broadway and Sydney runs, but the people who created the show are incredibly supportive towards improvisation and spontaneity, which is great for us. That's sort of what we've built our company from, is taking shows that are somewhat scripted but have freedom for collaboration between a director and cast to add your own spin to it. That's what we sort of gravitate towards as a company. For the most part, improvising around the copyright laws hasn't been too much of a problem, because what's really great about this show is that there's such a lovely core of sincerity and heart at the center of it, and everyone is so invested in the characters they're playing, the characters of the Puffs, that when it comes time for improvisation, the script has enough jokes at the expense of the original text.
Okay.
When it comes to improvising, the cast really gravitates towards improvising as their characters and enjoying the relationships that they've built together, and finding a lot of humor in those sorts of relationships, rather than at making further jokes at the expense of she who shall not be named.
Exactly. Excellent. I love that. So we'll give our listeners a bit of a background on Rising Arts Productions as a whole. I guess, Jarrod, I'll throw this to you. In a nutshell, give us like a brief scope of who Rising Arts are as a company, and what is your main thing you guys do?
Rising Arts, I guess, are a collaboration largely between Bradley and myself, but obviously we pride ourselves on being open to everyone. The large focus on improv and scripted works. So we've dabbled in musicals like Heathers in the last 5 years. We've performed in plays like the complete works of William Shakespeare Abridged, and then obviously have a big improv following where we've played shows in the Illawarra Performing Arts Centre. We've taken improv shows to Sydney. We've competed in improv shows in Sydney as well. So like we've had largely an improv company, but we also definitely love to focus on those scripted works, and those works, like Brad said before, that have that little bit of improv in them and that freedom to create something that isn't just recreating the text exactly as we see it on the page. We definitely steer towards, I guess, like the cult shows, like those that have that occult following. We found it with Heathers that's the sort of thing that audiences in regional centres really come out for, whereas they can't usually see those shows in Sydney often, if at all. And we found that the same with Puffs as well, that we've had a big response to Puffs because it is that cult favorite where people had seen it in Sydney or had heard about the play but never got the opportunity to see it. So we really like taking those shows and putting our own unique spin on it to make it something that's uniquely us, but also give people the opportunity to see something that they probably wouldn't have seen or have had to travel a far way and pay much more money to go see.
Yeah, that's always it, isn't it?
I think there's a certain reputation when you're performing in sort of regional spaces like here in Wollongong or maybe up in Newcastle, that when you do a popular show or a cult favorite show, that your role as a creative is to recreate the Sydney season or to recreate the Melbourne season. And I in no way want to disparage any creatives that make that choice to recreate it. They obviously have a passion towards seeing in their town what happened on the Sydney stage. But I guess for Jarrod and I, there are so many not just talented performers here in Wollongong, but very creative performers.
Very much
people who have their own visions of what these shows could possibly be. And they're the people we enjoy working with. If we're going to do a show like Heathers or Puffs, we want to do it in our own way and put our brand on it and say, this is a brand new version of the show that hasn't been seen before. And people from Wollongong created it.
Speaking of Wollongong, after Puffs goes to Sydney, you guys are going to be coming and doing your season in Wollongong.
That's correct, yes.
So that was going to be on this year before it was, or if you're listening in the future, this is 2021 that we're currently in.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
I'm Victoria Cash. Thanks for calling the Lucky Land Hotline. If you feel like you do the same thing every day, press 1. If you're ready to have some serious fun for the chance to redeem some serious prizes, press 2. We heard you loud and clear. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com right now and play over 100 social casino-style games for free. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And then obviously lockdown happened. So how did you guys improvise with lockdown and rehearsing online?
Well, we have to really... The answer to that question is Dungeons and Dragons.
Excellent.
How we solved that problem. Jarrod, you should absolutely speak on this because you were the mastermind behind this effort.
Bradley and I spent a lot of time in lockdown playing Dungeons and Dragons. We're creating our own Dungeons and Dragons show, the Adventuring Portal. So when we came up with the challenge of trying to rehearse a show where everyone's distanced, we noticed very early on that trying to do any sort of detailed acting, people were getting Zoom fatigued and really struggling to connect. So I created the entire stage layout from a top-down view and create everyone a D&D token so that we could run blocking rehearsals and run rehearsals with everyone in control of their own character to move around the stage and perform while acting, but also doing something physical and actually moving that character throughout the space. So they got an idea to the point where we rehearsed the entire second act purely on this D&D app and then took it to the stage once we came out of lockdown, and it all went fairly well, surprisingly.
Yeah, first rehearsal out of lockdown, we did a run of the entire show. The cast had never done the second act in person together, but they managed to hold the entire show together from beginning to end just based off playing with the Dungeons and Dragons online map.
That is incredible. I'm shocked. Like, that is so inventive. I love that. I love that so much. You should just quickly copyright Rising Arts Production. That is like a future kind of app, if I've ever heard of one for, theatre.
Well, there was a push within the cast for us to try and create the entire set and stage on Minecraft to hold rehearsals, but we never quite got that far.
Excellent. That's so good. I love hearing like different ways people have been creative with lockdown. I think it shows when people are really passionate about something, when they find these ways to jump over hurdles. And I think in the creative industry, that's something you need to do. So props to you guys. That's amazing. So you guys have your own space in the Illawarra Theatre 16. Lovely little venue where you do a lot, basically all your stuff now, isn't it?
All of our improv is based out of Theatre 16, outside of a handful of shows that we do each year at the Wollongong Town Hall. But we usually do a monthly show there at Theatre 16, plus we rehearse all of our productions out of there as well. So it keeps us busy.
What was it like finding your own space in Wollongong?
It was a weird experience that we'd never really ever planned to own our own space. We were happy being sort of independent and floating amongst all the other companies. And honestly, I believe it was a Facebook ad from memory popped up online that there was a cheap warehouse space. And I sort of just sent it to Brad absentmindedly at work, imagining him saying, "Oh no, that's crazy. What are you thinking about trying to run a space?" He was oddly supportive and we realized we could afford it. So we went out there. We were really lucky that what they're trying to create out there, the space is not just ours. We have worked with a lot of different people. So there's a music studio out there. There's a photography studio. There's like painters and pottery. So they're really creating a little creative space out there for all different kinds of people and all different creatives, which is really nice.
That's beautiful. And I think, just from what we're talking about with creatives in Wollongong, that's what we need. We need more of that, because this is where these works start. And then you guys, you take it up to Sydney audiences get to see more talent, and you're kind of spreading it really. And I know, Brad, when we were in uni, going up to Sydney was such a surreal experience. And actually being able to perform in Sydney where it happens, because it's the same, it's similar, if we're in New York, playing off Broadway, off Broadway, and you work your way up.
Yeah, it is such an odd obstacle for performers in the Illawarra. Again, I truly believe that there are talented, creative performers down here, but so many of them just don't have that pathway to the Sydney stage. I mean, the person who plays the lead in Puffs has studied acting in LA, but this production will be his Sydney debut.
Incredible. Yes, that in itself is incredible.
I think as for Theatre 16, Jarrod said that he was surprised to find I was supportive, and I understand that because usually it's my job to temper his more chaotic impulses. But honestly, it's one of the greatest obstacle to creating new work is just finding the space in which to rehearse and perform that, a space that won't cause you to be completely out of pocket, thousands of dollars for however long it takes you to put that show together. And we've been doing it for years, just paying local government spaces huge amounts of money over the course of several years just to rehearse an improv show or a musical or a play. Having our own space not only took a lot of that pressure off, but sort of inspired us to suddenly go chasing some of the more insane ideas that have always been somewhat pipe dreams, where people from Western Sydney, low socioeconomic areas, it'd be great to do this idea one day, but there's not really the support or space for it. And finally taking this weird leap to get our own space suddenly opened the door to, well, I guess we have no excuses. We have to start chasing some of these ideas now.
Recently, you guys held a local playwriters exhibition. Is that correct?
Yeah, we took 8 local playwrights. Some of them had never written for the stage before. They were either beginners out of high school, they're sort of finding their feet, or had written for film but never for the stage, plus some experienced playwrights as well. Pretty much asked them all to give us a rule that each of their plays had to conform to and work around as sort of a creative hurdle. And yeah, in the span of 2 weeks, they all wrote brand new 10-minute short plays that were rehearsed and performed within the span of about another 2 weeks. So about a month total from pen to stage. So
that's so good. And giving those artists that opportunity would be amazing. You just never know who you'd find. You might find this brilliant writer who's never had an opportunity to write. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, who are you? Like, come on, get in here.
Oh, and that's exactly what we found. I mean, about a third of the people involved in that festival across both writing and acting were people that we'd never worked with before. And for us, it was just a passion of, we've been locked inside for 4 months. Let's just bring people together, do something creative. It's only a month turnaround. Let's not stress about creating perfect products. Let's just create products after being so long being unable to do so. And yeah, we discovered people, as Jarrod was saying, people just out of high school. One of our writers named Sarah, this beautifully poetic writer who had this great sincerity and emotion to her writing, but had never didn't know how to format a script at the beginning of the festival. By the end, she's made her writing has made its stage debut now in quite a touching one-woman show that involved multimedia as a part of it. Like, wow. It's easy to get burned out in the industry, but there are moments every now and then where you are suddenly reminded why you put so much time and effort into things like that. And I think that was one of those moments.
Outside of Puffs Theatre 16, what else have you guys got going on? Do you have anything in the pipe that you might want to drop us little hints for, or something you're kind of stowing away for later on?
Well, we've got Twisted coming up at the end of January, right after the Puff season, because
Excellent.
I Hate Rest, which is a musical that parodies Wicked and Aladdin and sort of tells the untold story of Jafar and framing him as sort of the hero of the story. And then a lot of improv things that we've got working up. We've always wanted to do a 24-hour improv festival where we'd perform for 24 hours straight.
Oh my God, that'd be so good.
So there's
maybe late April.
Amazing. So literally people just can walk in and out whenever they want. You guys are just going to keep going.
Yeah. We'd form 24 sort of smaller shows that would happen on the hour each hour.
Wow.
And have a select few of us performing to raise money for a good cause. And
that's so good.
Hopefully also start to make the most of some of our Sydney connections we've formed and start to pull some of those Sydney improvisers down to mingle with our Wollongong people. And yeah.
On improv, I want to put you on your toes and get your improv acting chops going. Okay. So I want to play, and I'm now very conscious that I don't want to mention the young boy with the glasses and the thing on his head.
Yes.
I want to play a game called Alphabet. Very Now, for those who aren't... Alphabet is a game where we give you a scenario, and every line that you have between the two of you needs to start with the next letter of the alphabet. So A, B, C, D, and so on. So I'm going to give you a scenario. So let's say you're both a puff and you've missed the train to your magical school. What are you going to do? Who knows?
What letter would you like us to start with?
Excellent. All right, I'm going to jump in with P. P for puffs.
P for puffs. Peter, I told you should have set the alarm for earlier.
Quick, we've got to catch the train, Jeffrey.
Really? Now you're worrying after you wasted all that time this morning trying to pack your owl into a suitcase.
Sorry, just wouldn't fit.
Take that broom, okay? We can get on the same broom together and fly off.
Up.
Verily, forsooth. No, those are Shakespeare phrases, not spells. Damn it.
Xylophone. Maybe it'll lift up if you play your xylophone.
What happened to W?
Yes, W. The letter that we must not say.
Sooks. Gad Sooks. We must stop this dilly-dallying and start flying. Put your arms around my waist.
All right, let's just make the xylophone sounds together.
Bing, boom, bing, boom, 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 boom.
Ka.
Damn it, the train's getting away. I don't think we can catch up.
Everyone stay calm. Let's do what we always do together. A puff hug.
For once, I think you've had a good idea, Peter.
Good. Let's hug it out, catch this broom, and fly our way to the train.
Hugs definitely ease my anxiety. I feel clearer-headed. I've got an idea.
I love you, Peter. Jeffrey. Peter E. Jeffrey.
Jeffrey is me. Peter is you.
But together we're Peter E. Jeffrey.
Okay. What I'm thinking is that if we all cast our bear spell at the same time, it will turn the train into a teddy bear and it will stop moving.
Let's do it. I've got my wand ready.
Maybe you should give your wand to somebody else, someone who's a little bit more experienced.
Nice idea. You hold it.
Okay, bears. Let's do the bear spell in 3, 2, 1. Paddington!
Brilliant. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that. That was
I still don't know my alphabet.
What happened to W?
The least important letter.
Brilliant. All right, Jarrod, Brad, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. That was sensational. We're very, very excited to see Puff. So you can either catch it in Sydney from the 7th of January to the 15th of January, or from the 7th of April to the 9th of April in Wollongong at the Illawarra Performing Arts Centre.
Thank you so much for having us, Justin.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Tickets for Puff Sydney are available at humanitix.com. Tickets for Puffs in Wollongong are available at merrigong.com.au. Time for another giveaway here on the Theatre Thoughts podcast. This time we have tickets to Heathers the Musical coming to the ARA Darling Quarter Theatre in Darling Harbour in 2022. The Mitchell Old Company presents Heathers the Musical, a high-energy immersive theatre experience based on the cult classic film of the same name that will have a limited season at ARA Darling Quarter Theatre from the 8th of February to the 5th of March 2022. This heartfelt, hilarious and provocatively dark comedy features new songs and comes to Sydney direct from the West End production. We have 2 double passes to give away, valid for Tuesday the 8th of February at 7 p.m. To win, all you need to do is head to our website, theatrethoughtsoz.online, and fill out the form telling us why you want to win one of these double passes to see Heathers the Musical. Be sure to get in quick before the competition closes Sunday the 9th of January 2022 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, tickets are available for Heathers the Musical at ticketek.com.au. Well, that's all the time we have left here on the Theatre Thoughts podcast. Don't forget that you can follow us on our socials, Facebook and Instagram at Theatre Thoughts Oz. That's Theatre Thoughts AUS, or on our website, theatrethoughtsoz.online. Until then, stay safe, get involved as much theatre as you can, and keep those thoughts rolling. And we'll see you next time here on the Theatre Thoughts podcast.
Have you ever wondered how your favorite performer actually feels? Well, here's your chance. Welcome to The Quiet Part Out Loud with me, Bobby Steggert, Broadway actor and now a therapist to a whole host of Broadway creatives. Part interview, part therapy, this is not your typical podcast. We'll go right to the heart of things with some of your favorite artists, what they still struggle with, what lessons they've learned, what they haven't figured out yet. There is enormous power in saying the quiet part out loud. Are you listening?
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.